My name is Hannah Hensley, and I'm here in historic downtown Richlands, Virginia, where I want to tell you the history of the town of Richlands. Richlands is located in Tazewell County in the southwestern portion of Virginia, near Kentucky, West Virginia, Tennessee, and North Carolina. Tazewell County was originally founded in the mid-1700s and became a county of its own in 1799. The area where Richlands stands now was originally a military outpost until about 1792, when the western frontier continued moving westward and it became farmland. Located on the banks of the Clinch River, Richlands was first referenced as Richlands in a 1785 land grant given by Patrick Henry. Though visitors often refer to the town as Richlands, it is in fact Richlands. Richlands history really begins to get started after the discovery of coal after the Civil War. There were coal mines in the United States prior to the Civil War, but the industry really started taking off after the war ended. In about 1873, Confederate Major Jedediah Hotchkiss became interested in the region of Tazewell County. He felt that there were coal deposits here, and he hired Captain Isaiah Welch to begin surveying the land, scouting it out, where he did indeed find a 13-foot thick seam of coal running through Laurel Creek, which runs into the area of Richlands. Jedediah Hotchkiss began recruiting capitalists from Philadelphia to build a railroad into the area so they could begin tapping into these rich coal reserves. But unfortunately, the economy had other ideas, as there was an economic depression in the 1870s, which caused the entire endeavor to fall apart. In about the mid-1880s, the economy had regained traction and interest once again began to be held in Richlands. The Clinch Valley Coal and Iron Company was formed with investors from 7 other companies out of Philadelphia, and in 1889 they began trying to bring the railroad into the area of Richlands. Norfolk and Western arrived in 1889, and the town of Richlands quickly began building up around it. Richlands was founded not as a coal mining town, but as a manufacturing town in close proximity to the coal mines. The reproduction of an 1890 brochure for the town of Richlands includes a map of the newly planned town that shows the transition from that original farmland owned by William Gillespie to the up-and-coming manufacturing center that was to be Richlands. And so among the first structures that were built were the office building for the Clinch Valley Coal and Iron Company, which you see behind me now, and also a church, a bank, and manufacturing areas such as a glass factory and an iron factory. Richlands was advertised to other investors as the Pittsburgh of the South due to the close proximity of the coal mines. Investors had realized that it made more fiscal sense to build manufacturing centers close to the mineral deposits that they were mining, hence Richlands. By 1890, a street system and a grid had already been devised, structures were going up, and things were looking really great. People were moving into the area. They were going to work in the steel mill, in the glass factory, in all the other industries in the town. In 1892, Richlands became incorporated officially as a town. And so, of the buildings in the town, many of the original structures still remain. Originally constructed in 1890, this building was designed to be the office for the Clinch Valley Coal and Iron Company. As you can see, there's a small window, round window behind me, which is where employees would pick up their paychecks from the coal company. In 1901, the building was sold to Dr. William Reese Williams. Doc Williams lived here until he died in 1943, but until 1915, this building served as the hospital for Richlands, as there was no official hospital. Doc Williams lived here. His wife would take care of patients and cook them homemade meals, and his office building, where he would see the day-to-day patients, is located behind him. Doc Williams' office building also still stands in Richlands and served for many years as the Richlands Chamber of Commerce. It now is simply standing empty, but still tells the history on a plaque. Doc Williams' house was donated by the Williams family in 1984 and has since served as the Richlands branch of the public library. Another important building, though shorter lived than the Williams house behind me, was the Hotel Richlands. Hotel Richlands was constructed very quickly after the town began growing and has been likened to the Waldorf Astoria in grandeur. Unfortunately, no pictures remain of the interior of the Hotel Richlands, but it was said to have contained crystal chandeliers, sterling silver cutlery, fine china, and mahogany furniture. What happened with all of these wonderful things that are occurring in the town of Richlands, however, is that after the 1892 incorporation of the town, we run into the 1893 Depression. When the economy went bust, the Clinch Valley Coal and Iron Company sent word to its agents and said, "Get out of Richlands, shut it down, we're pulling out, we can't afford to stay there any longer." And overnight, the town almost became abandoned by all of the original investors. The Hotel Richlands also was abandoned. Literally, they walked out of the doors and didn't take a single thing with them. Unfortunately, all of the beautiful fixtures and furnishings were subject to looting by the people who had remained in the town, and none of them have survived. The Hotel Richlands site eventually became a college by the name of Dominion College that operated for a few years before burning. Established in 1897, Old Dominion College was a small school because it was a small town. However, the college did contain an elementary department, a high school, and a junior college. So this was not a typical four-year college as we now think of in present day. At Old Dominion College, students could expect to take commercial law, bookkeeping, piano, voice, elocution, shorthand, and typing. Now, there's an interesting connection between the Williams house and the site of the Hotel Richlands. After Doc Williams had held his patients here at his own home until 1915, he bought the location that the Hotel Richlands had sat on, and there he built the Maddie Williams Hospital, named after his wife. Maddie Williams operated until 1990 and included temporarily a nursing school that had very highly acclaimed nurses to come through its doors. After the Maddie Williams closed in 1990, it sat abandoned for a while before being demolished, but not all was lost. Soon, the new town hall building was constructed on the site of the Hotel Richlands and the Maddie Williams Hospital and includes nods to the former structures that stood here. Also included on the site at Town Hall is a memorial in honor of the coal miners who have come from Richlands. Other historic buildings that have survived include the WBF White Building, which now serves as the Appalachian Millworks business, as well as First Christian Church, which still stands in its original form with a few additions over the years. Churches were needed in Richlands. It was known as being a town that was wild and woolly, very reminiscent of an Old West gunslinging town. There were shootouts on the streets, wooden sidewalks, saloons on every corner, and houses of ill repute. In fact, local pastors were known to tell their congregations not to go near Front Street because it was such a wild place to be. After the Clinch Valley Coal and Iron Company left the town, the main leaders within the town came together and kept the town going. Part of that involved re-upping the brickyard kilns, which operated until the 1970s, and they also started a casket factory, which also operated up until the past 20 years or so. Because of these men, Richlands was able to continue to grow and thrive even after the financial crisis of the 1890s. Unlike the Clinch Valley Coal and Iron Company that pulled out when things got tough, the people of Richlands came together, they stuck it out, and they created a town that has survived until present day.